Good morning, my dear learners. I am Go'zal Eshchanova, Senior Teacher of Tashkent Institute of Irrigation and Agricultural Mechanization Engineers. I am glad to continue my session with you again. So, let me start my third session, the title of which is called Teaching English for Specific Purposes, Mechanization. There is a close relationship between mechanization and agriculture. That's why very frequently they are referred as agricultural mechanization. It's worth mentioning that effective methodologies in teaching specialism-related areas are being explored day by day by professional language experts, which proves that English is being widely used in all spheres of life. Taking into consideration all of these, it's important to suggest that English for mechanization is the best learning approach in gaining tremendous success for the learners in this field. Before starting our discussion on the mentioned topic, let me draw your attention to the illustrations shown in the slide. I hope that these pictures can help you to get initial ideas about the role of mechanization, the agricultural and farming mechanization, types and usage of modern tractors in agriculture. Now, let me move to the next slide, in which we will watch a short video about mechanization and then continue our discussion. Mechanization covers all levels of farming and processing technologies, from simple and basic hand tools to more sophisticated and motorized equipment. It eases and reduces hard labor, improves productivity and timeliness of agricultural operations, improves the efficient use of resources, enhances market access and contributes to mitigating climate-related hazards. Sustainable mechanization considers technological, economic, social, environmental and cultural aspects when contributing to the sustainable development of the food and agricultural sector. Mechanization is one factor that has had significant effect. Mechanized harvesting, for example, was a key factor in increasing cotton production in the last century. In the future, mechanization will also have to contribute to better management of inputs that vary widely among crop types and regional economic status. Mechanization is the process of changing from working largely or exclusively by hand or with animals to doing that work with machinery. In an early engineering text, a machine is defined as follows. Every machine is constructed for the purpose of performing certain mechanical operations, each of which supposes the existence of two other things besides the machine in question, namely a moving power and an object subject to the operation, which may be termed the work to be done. Machines, in fact, are interposed between the power and the work for the purpose of adapting the one to the other. In some fields, mechanization includes the use of hand tools. In modern usage, such as in engineering and economics, mechanization implies machinery more complex than hand tools, devices that cause speed changes or changes to or from reciprocating to rotary motion, using means such as gears, pulleys or shears and belts, shafts, cams and cranks usually are considered machines. After electrification, when more small machinery was no longer hand-powered, mechanization was synonymous with the motorized machines. Extension of mechanization or the production process is termed as automation, and it is controlled by a closed-loop system in which feedback is provided by the sensors. It controls the operations of different machines automatically. In manufacturing, mechanization replaced hand methods of making goods. Prime movers are devices that convert thermal, potential or kinetic energy into mechanical work. Agricultural machines comprise tractors of different kinds: combine harvest, specialized harvests, cotton pickers, plows, drills, harrows, cultivators, manure spreaders. They are intended for seeding, cultivation, fertilization and other kinds of field work. There also exist many machines for processing agricultural products. They comprise special machines for the preparation of dairy products, honey, wine, oils, sugar and others. I hope that this video could help you to comprehend some basic knowledge about mechanization types, problems and prospects in this field. So, let me move to the next slide. The main objectives of our session are given here. Step by step, we'll analyze and discard them. While analyzing the mechanization-oriented English, it's essential to acknowledge that mechanization development can be divided into two stages, such as traditional mechanization development and modern mechanization development. This Venn diagram illustrates the difference in using tools in the past and present. The past 50 years, there have been a considerable development in mechanization sphere. Now, dears, I think it's high time to move to the real world of mechanization. Anytime when we hear the term mechanization, the first thing that comes to our mind is, what can be the real meaning of this term? Let me give brief information. The term mechanization means action of making or rendering mechanical in any sense of this word. What do you think? What is the role of mechanization in our life? It's interesting to note that mechanization is the process of changing from working largely or exclusively by hand or with animals to doing that work with machinery. In some fields, mechanization includes the use of hand tools. In modern usage, such as in engineering or economics, mechanization implies machinery more complex than hand tools. Now, it's a brainstorming time for us to think. What mechanization-related words can you use in learning? Let me draw your attention to some of them. Mechanization, mechanism, mechanics, mechanize, and others. It's interesting to note that these words belong to different parts of speech, such as adjectives, nouns, verbs, and adverbs, but they have the same root, mech. It is one of the simple ways of easy enriching the vocabulary. Further, and even more importantly, we should have a clear picture about the importance of mechanization in agriculture. Let's suggest some of them. Improving the quality produces, reducing the cost of operation. Have you ever thought about the objectives of mechanization in agriculture? I think yes. Let me inform about some of them. Improve agricultural machinery in industry, provide high work output, increase agricultural production. Anytime when you hear something about mechanization field, you will probably start thinking about advantages and disadvantages of mechanization. So, let's discuss it. From one side, advantages of mechanization can include the following: improve production efficiency, increase the quality of farm produce. From the other side, disadvantages of mechanization can include the following: cause environmental pollution, cause deforestation and erosion. Anytime you practice English, you will probably need to use future tenses for the actions in mechanization sphere as a revision of grammar through the content. It's clear that a verb is the main part of speech that shows the tense. Let's observe the usage of the verb to pick in 4 future tenses, such as future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. Let's start from the first one. It's clear that future simple is used to talk about facts about the future, decisions about the future that we make at the moment of speaking, predictions that are indefinite, promises and offers. For the formation of positive, negative and question forms, let me draw your attention to the structures shown in the slide. It's not difficult at all. Whenever you use positive form, you should follow subject plus auxiliary verbs shall, will plus verb 1 plus object. Please remember that you can use shall for the first person singular and first person plural. In other cases, you can use will. We know that will can be widely used than shall, but in British English, shall still exists. While forming the negative form, we add negative particle not to shall and will and use the forms shan't and won't. In question form, we usually put shall and will before the subject. Remember one rule: all future tenses require shall and will. Let me give some samples. Modern tractors will pick cotton in fields next year. Modern tractors won't pick cotton in fields next year. Will modern tractors pick cotton in fields next year? For practicing, you can make sentences using verbs given below the slide. Let's move to the next slide. Future continuous tense is used to talk about situation that will be happening at a particular point in the future. It's important to note that all continuous tenses require to be and verb 1 and ing, present participle. But here, as we are talking about future continuous, shall and will should be used as well. For the formation, you should follow the structures. In positive form, we use subject plus shall, will, plus verb 1 plus ing. In negative form, not is added after shall and will in the forms of won't and shan't, plus be plus verb 1 plus ing. In question form, shall and will should be placed before the subject. Then we take be and verb 1 and ing. Let me give some samples. Modern tractors will be picking cotton in fields from September to October next year. Modern tractors won't be picking cotton in the fields from September to October next year. Will modern tractors be picking cotton in fields from September to October next year? For practicing, you can make sentences using verbs given below the slide. Now let me move to the next slide. Future perfect is used to talk about something that happens before a certain point in the future. In this tense, we use the following structure: subject plus shall or will plus auxiliary verb have and plus verb 3, past participle. In negative form, not is added after shall and will in forms of shan't and won't. In question form, we put shall and will before the subject. Let me give some samples. Modern tractors will have picked cotton in fields by October. Modern tractors won't have picked cotton in fields by October. Will modern tractors have picked cotton in fields by October? Again, for you to practice, there are some action verbs that are given below the slide. Now let me move to the next slide. It's about future perfect continuous tense. This tense is used to talk about something that continues until a certain point of time in future. For the formation, you should follow the structures. In positive form, we use subject plus shall plus will plus have been plus verb 1 and ing. In negative form, not is added after shall and will. In question form, we place shall and will before the subject. Modern tractors will have been picking cotton in fields for a month by October. Modern tractors won't have been picking cotton in fields by October. Will modern tractors have been picking cotton in fields for a month by October? Remember that the future continuous, future perfect and future perfect continuous usually include time references such as by 2025, in 20 years time, by this time next year, next week and others. For practicing, you can see several action verbs below the slide. Additionally, some information about effective techniques in ESP teaching, especially mechanization-related English. If you want to improve specialism-related English, these activities such as matching the term with their definitions and gap-filling tasks would be beneficial for learners in enhancing vocabulary skills. Now, let me move to the next activity, in which you are asked to match the terms with suitable definitions. I'll give you 5 minutes to complete the task. Now, if you are ready, let me show the correct answers for you to check. Now let me move to the next slide. In this activity, you should read the extract and fill the passage with suitable terms. Now let me show you the correct answers. By the way of conclusion, I believe that from the acquired session outlined above, self-assessment for checking the comprehension can be effective as well. It will be your home assignment. It consists of 2 parts. In part 1, you should read the statements and decide whether they are true or false. In part 2, for enriching your vocabulary in mechanization-related English, you should make sentences using words shown in the cluster. Please follow the right word order in placing these words: subject plus verb plus object plus secondary parts of speech. Let me finish today's session on English for mechanization. I hope you could learn something. Good luck in SP learning. See you!